Fear of missing out, fear of loss, overconfidence, overtrading, all of these and more are pitfalls that we all face as traders. And being aware of what is going on with you emotionally is a huge part of success as a trader. So we're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about what do you do on a day like today when the S&P moves 40 points on news, the NASDAQ moves 200 points on news. How do you come into that in the morning and deal with that as a trader, deal with the fear of missing out on another big move or that you've missed out on the current move? We're going to get right into it. Welcome back to Day Trade Like a Pro. We're going to get right into it today. We're going to talk about we're going to get onto the charts in a minute here, but we're going to talk about the emotional aspect and the mental aspect of trading and how it is so important and so critical. I didn't trade well today. I lost 5 ticks on the S&P. I lost 3 ticks on the Russell, and and that was it. You can see my chart right here. I did 1 trade on the S&P. I missed a couple of good entries that I would have liked to have back, and I'll talk about those today. I'll talk about waiting for me, what those A plus setups are, and waiting for that, and be in a little, if you're in a little bit of a funk. I think as traders we think that life is going to be like you learn how to trade and then you just hit it out of the park every single day, and it really isn't like that. If you look at any profession, anything in life, it has ups and it's downs and it ebbs and it flows, and you're going to have times where you're going to kill it and times when you're not going to kill it. And the reality of it is you look at professional athletes, they get in ruts, they get out of ruts. If you've played any sport before, if you've played golf, sometimes you just can't hit the ball bat. Like no matter what you do. If you've played basketball, sometimes you just can't miss. And we see that in all kinds of different sports. And we see that with athletes, and we think it's normal and acceptable in athletes, but a lot of times as traders we're hard on ourselves, and we don't think that we should have that same kind of, maybe it isn't, maybe it's okay that I'm in a little bit of a rut, or I'm not really feeling it, or I feel a little bit off today. That's okay. It's okay to have those kinds of days. So that being said, I want to talk a little bit about from the outset, my goal with Day Trade Like a Pro, the purpose of why I'm doing these videos, why I'm putting this out for you, is to be able to share my own journey and some of what I wish existed when I was starting out in the world of trading, and to be able to share my own insights and my own knowledge. And I will tell you that nothing has revolutionized my trading more than practicing self-awareness and being aware of what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling that, and continuing to ask that question about what is it that I'm feeling, what's going on with me internally, what's my emotional state right now, and do I have some desire or some need to feel like I want it, that I need to do something. So what happened this morning, I want to talk about. So let's talk about the result of what happened, and then we're going to talk about what was going on after some self-reflection, realizing today's not my day, shutting it down, walking away. Now I want to talk about something first. So I told you what happened. I lost 8 ticks today. I wasn't massively sized up. It was completely fine. It's one trade, and I'm back on top of what I lost today. But that isn't the point. The point is that I have and I'm sharing this so that if you can find yourself in it somewhere or relate to it in some way, trading is a tough thing to do if you want to be perfect at it. You have to accept that losses are going to be part of trading. And I want you to see how previous things or previous decisions, and how when that stuff is, if it's left unresolved, how it can go into your trade, into the next trade and the next trade and the next trade. Now, this is easily the kind of day where you could have blown your account up. There's a lot going on. There's a lot on the chart. And if you're kind of careless and you're just clicking the mouse all over and you don't really have a clear direction, or you don't really know what you want to do, it can be very easy to have a really bad day and blow your account up. So I've had those days. And what I'm grateful for today is that having a day where I'm just completely off and cannot get in the zone, get focused in and dialed into what's going into the market, and really feel like I have no clue what's happening. What I'm grateful for about that is that I'm at the point right now that that cost me 8 ticks. So that's a pretty good lesson. It didn't cost me blowing up accounts. It didn't. I've had times where a day like today could cost $100,000 or $200,000. It didn't cost that. It cost 8 ticks, and so part of why I'm sharing that is to acknowledge and to be able to, for you to see that wherever you are in the journey, you might have killed it today, but we all have our up days. We all have our down days. And wherever you are in that journey, is that where are you growing, and then acknowledging where you're growing and where you're doing better, and then where can you grow and where can you do better. I would have loved to have killed it today. I walked away. I came back. I missed an entry down here where I actually wanted to buy right here, and it would have just been a little, 10-point scalp or something. And I missed that because I really felt like I couldn't really get in the zone. So I was up early this morning. So if you go back and you look at what happened yesterday I had that trade where the market came down, it bounced a couple points away, came back to my entry, and I got out at break even. It went one tick lower and then shot out of that area, and it was that was a great move that I was looking for. So really tough one. I don't really wouldn't have managed it any different given the chance. Again, I felt like it was really aggressive, and I primarily wanted to be selling, but I was buying. And I'm telling you all of that because I think it's relevant for what was going on here today. So I had a pretty good anticipation that the market was going to make a big move on the news. You can see these big 3 yellow candles, really huge move. I was hoping that on the news we'd get a bit of a spike down. I'd be able to jump in and be able to get a move up. That didn't happen. It just ripped out of here. So before the market ever opened, I was a little bit frustrated that I didn't have any place to really participate and get involved in that move up, even though I felt like I knew that was coming, and I couldn't really find a place to get involved. So I was a little bit frustrated about that. And I felt a little bit like that yesterday, a little bit frustrated about there was this move that I was waiting for, and it finally happened, but it was so late in the day, and it just really couldn't get involved in that move yesterday. And so recognizing both of those things, the market came down here. It held right here, and I thought, I'm going to zoom. You can see we held this to the tick overnight. And what I thought is it came down, it held right here, and so then it started to move away. I said if it comes back here, I'm going to buy it right here. It could come back and hold right here. And I got in this. It moved a point and a half, something like that. And I knew this trade was over. So this was during the live trade room. Well, the live trade room was technically over, but I hopped on to do this trade, and I was talking through it anyway. And it moved about a point and a half in my favor. These are 5-minute candles, so it doesn't really show that. And it wasn't getting up out of this area, and this was after it had kind of spiked down right here. And so I really thought the trade's over. And I've seen when it's a spike, when you get that reaction that you want up out of this area, and it's the turn that's going to take you to that next high or whatever it is, then I thought if this was going to be the low for here, which could have been, then I thought this would end up holding. I got out of this for so I ended up I had some slippage on my stop. I put my stop right below here, and I got some slippage down to here. So it is what it is. So I got out of this trade. I knew this trade was over, and it was right around break even. And it isn't really that I didn't move the stop or that it cost me a few ticks or whatever. It was the point of that I knew that the trade was over, and I kept the trade on anyway. and didn't just close it out at break even. And part of what was going on for me is that I have a bunch of people in the room. They're watching. They're expecting. They want to see performance. They want to see, okay, how are you making money trading? They want to be able to. A lot of them are copying those trades. They want to be able to copy that trade into their account. You want it to work, and that got in the way of me just trading. And I do a pretty good job, I would say, most of the time of managing that. But today, just kind of the perfect storm. And then yesterday, having that move where it moved down, I got in, I got out at break even, it went one tick lower, and then ripped out of there. So I thought, I don't want to have what happened to yesterday happen today. And that's really the mistake. That's one of the mistakes for sure. So I didn't get out of the trade. So it was a bit of like not being in sync and not listening to what I knew to listen to and not doing what I knew to do, which I knew the trade was over. I knew to get out of it, and I didn't do that. Really not a huge deal. But, and then this moved out of here. I got out. It moved up. It came back, whatever. At this point, I walked away from it. I couldn't be here when this was happening. But it came right down over to here. So even on a day like today, the levels were still, the levels were still pretty good here. And so it came down to here. It moved out of this area. I wanted to buy a pullback to the purple line. That never happened. I was hoping this would come back and hit purple and get out of here, and we could hold for a new high. You can see we had this target at 12.5. We came up and hit a couple points through that. From a market perspective, I really don't think they're done with higher. And then I had one trade. I took a trade on the Russell, and it came down. It was like, I'm trying to remember how it, what time it would have been, but it was probably, let's see. It might have been around this time. The Russell came down, hit the level I was looking for. This held really clean. It was during this. So Russell came down, held the level right here. Well, it kind of probed through the level, and I was like, yeah, I don't really love it. I thought the trade was worth trying, and that one I actually managed pretty well. I was happy with what I did with it. I took it off. I lost 3 ticks on it. But a little bit of a poor decision. Instead of trading the ES off of yesterday's purple, I traded the Russell. It probed lower. ES held really cleanly within a tick. And yeah, so within 1 tick, ES held with a tick. And it was really during this candle right here, Russell was moving lower. And I was like, yeah, I don't like what it's doing. So I got out of it. Never ended up having a huge move. It was really just going to be like a 5-point, 6-point scalp on the Russell. And here is the thing that I realized. So after that happened, I was like, okay, I'm done. I got up and I walked away. And what I realized, and I think that a lot of traders make this mistake, and I think the more that you can avoid this mistake, the better you're going to be for it. But a lot of traders make the mistake of that. So I wasn't really in sync. I couldn't really get anything going. And the difference between us as traders and let's say a professional athlete is that for the most part, a professional athlete can't just leave in the middle of a game. They can't just get up or walk away and say, I'm not going to do this anymore. Now, granted, I get that it happens at times, but I mean, overall, that's not really the norm. That's not really how you would expect it to go. So that being said, as traders, we have the advantage of we can say, okay, I'm really not getting it today. This isn't really going great for me. I'm going to move on. And we can just walk away from that. Okay, so I think that's really important to be able to say, okay, this isn't my day. I'm not really in sync or in tune with what the market's doing, so I'm going to move on. And we can do that as traders. So that's what I did today. I said, okay, really not going well for me. It's not the day that I want to be having. I'm not really reading the market well. I'm going to just move on. And that's what I did. And when I moved on, what I realized is that I felt out of sync. And I was trying to get back in sync or get rid of that feeling of just kind of feeling off. And I was trying to get rid of that instead of being with it and being present with it and just letting that feeling be there and feeling that. I was trying to get rid of that by making a good trade. so that I could get green on the day and feel good about what I did in my trading today. And if the reason that you're trading is so you can feel good about your trading, that's a real pitfall. It's not going to work. Not in the long run, that's for sure. And so, taking a step back and saying, okay, trading is not about, the market is not here to make me feel good. That's not what it's here for. But you have to have enough self-awareness to be able to say, well, what am I feeling right now? And then to be able to say, well, I feel really frustrated. I feel off. I feel like I haven't really been able to get in sync with what's going on. And what am I doing this trade for? Well, I'm doing the trade because I'm literally trying to get rid of that feeling, or to feel like what I'm doing in my trading is working today. And that's not going to work. And so when I realized that's what I was trying to do, I was like, well, that's usually when things go poorly. And so I got up, I walked away. That was that. And, just moved on, and I can come back and live to trade again tomorrow. And today was really no big deal at all. One trade tomorrow, way back up on top. But if I keep trading and I keep doing bad trades and I keep trying to feel good about my trading, well, what happens ultimately is that I end up more and more and more down. When does that ever go well? So I end up more and more down, and then I spend tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day just trying to get back to where I could have been today had I just gotten up and walked away. I know it's really tough to do. So I'm just trying to share with you some of what I have learned over the years of trading and what's made a difference for me in my trading. And certainly one of those things that's made a difference is being able to get up, walk away, recognize that it's not my day, and just be able to move on, go live to trade another day. And so that's what I did today. So that's that. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully you can keep that in the back of your mind. Put a sticky note on your chart. Just keep checking in with yourself. What is it that you're feeling? Because that has a huge impact on the way that you're trading and the decisions that you're making. So just keep that in mind. Keep asking those questions. All right, so ES, we had really kind of as a minimum target for the day, we had 08 half, and we had 51.12 half. Just above that, I don't think they're done with higher. I'll go on record saying that. I think that we've got more room to go. We have bigger targets up here, and I'm not going to dive into all of that right now. This is the all-time high, so you can see 22 quarters just in front of that all-time high. This is going to change. These change from day to day. But we've got 30 half, we've got 39 3/4, we've got 42, we've got 48 quarter, we've got 50 half. So there's bigger targets up here. I'm not saying we're going to go see all of those, but 30 half seems pretty likely kind of as a minimum for the move up, but let's see how it goes. Got to get above the all-time high first to start off. So that being said, let's go hop over and look at the NASDAQ, and I'll show you what our NASDAQ chart looked like. So I was not here for this when it pulled back to purple. Usually I'll do like a couple points in front of a level. So it pulled back to today's purple line. There were a couple of good opportunities. I primarily wanted to be a buyer today. I actually wanted to sell in the morning, but I was just a little bit concerned of sometimes I'll be really one-track mind about like that the market's got to move lower or whatever. And but there was a good so here's what I think were the good opportunities. I think buying here made some sense. I think buying here made sense, but definitely buying purple. I didn't know if we would get that much lower, but this to me is like this is an A+ trade for me. So buying purple, that's kind of a no-brainer. I wasn't here at the time that this happened, so but buying here, this moved from 80 up to here, and what is that? So this moved almost 60 points, so pretty nice. And then if you thought it was going to go short, if you thought it was going to go lower, this short holds right here almost to the tick. It holds to the tick right here, and then it came back up. A little bit tricky day though, because if you're short here and it comes down and comes back up, you're probably thinking we're going back up to this level, and they don't. They just come back, hit that, and then drop again. So a little tricky. An opportunity to get short off of yesterday's purple. You can really ignore this purple and these yellow lines. I mean, you really can ignore that. But move down to purple. Really, really nice. I would have liked if it would have come back to here, and it didn't. We had a KP right here. I think it was like to the tick, and it held the KP or something like that. I can't remember how it went, but it was right there, really. So that got held up, and then moved up away from here, and really never came back. I thought if they could come back to here, this would be a nice buy, but it never got back to there. So we had this target up here at 0.675. They came up. The high of the day was 0.9 So probed that by 11 ticks up to there. No, not a lot. So just probed above that, and then came back down, hit right here, and then we can see what's happened in Globex so far. Not a lot of weakness so far in Globex. So we'll see how that goes. We'll get some new levels from the market as things start to unfold and develop here overnight. And then we'll come back and we'll hit it again tomorrow. But I think that's the thing, is that, there's a rule in poker, and it's the same rule in trading. And the rule is don't lose all your money. Because if you lose all your money, you have to go home. And you don't want to go down that road. So don't lose all your money. That's the rule. Don't lose your money in trading. Don't lose your money in poker. And just live to trade another day. So that being said, we'll see how this all unfolds. We'll hopefully get another video or two out over the weekend. And I want to offer to you, if you've been watching the videos and you're following along and you're looking at this and you're going, these guys have almost every major turn in the market. Now, it might look like we have a lot of lines and a lot of levels, but there's certain reasons for some of those, and some of them that you can, as you really start to understand where they're coming from and how the market's generating them, you understand that they're not all generated the same, and they don't all mean the same kind of thing, and you don't want to trade them the same, and it doesn't even mean you want to trade all of them. But this is what we do every day in the live trade room, and it's so much more than a live trade room. It's there's comprehensive education, and you get to trade alongside with me, and I've had a pretty good run, and the goal for me is always to manage risk and try and make some money, and I'm not aggressive. There's traders in the room who are doing a lot more than I'm doing. They're taking a lot more trades than I'm taking. I'm real conservative. If I can wait and get that 1 or 2 trades a day that I want, I'm completely content to do that. And so that's what we're doing in the live trade room. If you are not killing it in your trading, or something about maybe you're doing great, you feel like you could do better, I believe we have something that can enhance anything that anybody's doing. But if you are interested or something about that calls to you, let's have a conversation about it. You can just send us an email, support@daytradelikeapro.com, and happy to talk with you and just see, where might this lead, and what might we be able to do together. So that's really what I want to say to you about it. So I hope you're having a great week. Hope it's been a good week for you. Hopefully today was rough. I know it was rough for a lot of traders, and hopefully you followed the rule of poker and trading, which is don't lose all your money and be able to come back and trade another day. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be back at it tomorrow morning in the live trade room. If you want to come join us, send us an email, support@daytradelikeapro. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you watching the videos. Hopefully today was insightful. You learned something about yourself, something about the market, really preferably something about yourself. And I will see you in the next video. Go crush it.